Have you ever felt that déjà vu wasn't just a glitch in your memory, but a glimpse into something far older, far deeper, something written long before you were born? What if I told you that every thought you've had, every emotion you've felt, every path you've walked, is already recorded, etched into an eternal library beyond time and space? They call it the Akashic Records, a vast, invisible compendium said to contain the history of every soul since the dawn of existence. Mystics, sages, and secret societies have whispered about it for centuries. Some have claimed to access its wisdom to glimpse the past, navigate the present, or even predict the future. Others believe it holds the blueprint of all creation, the hidden architecture of destiny itself. But what are the Akashic Records really? Are they just metaphors cloaked in mysticism? A psychic hallucination? Or could they be the key to unlocking a deeper reality, one that unites all consciousness in a single, divine field of intelligence? Tonight, we open the veil. In this journey, we'll trace the origins of the Akashic Records through ancient civilizations and lost teachings. We'll explore how this sacred knowledge was hidden in plain sight, encoded in spiritual traditions from Egypt to Tibet. And we'll dive into the esoteric science behind it, examining how it may relate to quantum consciousness, morphic fields, and the nature of time itself. But this isn't just a tale of old secrets and cosmic archives. You'll also discover how to access the Akashic Records yourself, how to attune your awareness to this ethereal library and draw wisdom that can shift the course of your life. Whether it's healing ancestral wounds, understanding your soul's mission, or finding clarity in moments of chaos, this knowledge changes everything. So, sit still. Breathe deep. The truth has been waiting. The records are calling. Are you ready to read what was written before you were born? To understand the Akashic Records, we must first journey back in time, far beyond the modern world, beyond the reach of written history itself. The concept of the Akashic Records does not come from any one culture or belief system. Rather, it is a thread woven through the tapestry of humanity's most profound spiritual traditions. The word Akashic derives from the Sanskrit word Akasha, meaning ether or spirit. It refers to an omnipresent, cosmic substance, the very fabric of the universe. In the Vedic texts of ancient India, Akasha was described as the essence that connects all things in the cosmos, the primordial source of creation from which all forms arise. It is the medium through which divine knowledge flows, and within it, it is said, all events, past, present, and future, are recorded. Yet, the Akashic Records were not solely confined to the teachings of the East. Similar concepts can be found in ancient Egypt, where the sacred Hall of Records is said to contain the wisdom of the gods. Some esoteric scholars believe that these halls, hidden beneath the Great Sphinx of Giza, hold the key to understanding humanity's divine origins. In the Egyptian Book of the Dead, we find references to the Book of Life, a metaphysical document that contains the truths of each soul's journey. Could this be a distant echo of the Akashic Records? Perhaps. Throughout history, philosophers and spiritual figures have hinted at the existence of this timeless library. Plato, the Greek philosopher, spoke of the world soul, a collective consciousness that unites all beings in a cosmic web of knowledge. He suggested that this higher plane of reality could be accessed through the mind's eye, the divine spark within each individual. In the mystical traditions of Judaism, the Zohar, the foundational text of Kabbalah, describes a divine book of life and destiny, where every soul's journey is inscribed by the Creator. Similarly, the Sufis of Islam speak of the Law al-Mahf, a celestial tablet on which all events are written before they manifest in the physical world. Yet, despite these ancient references, the Akashic Records remained largely hidden from the collective consciousness, guarded by priests, initiates, and secret societies. For centuries, this knowledge was thought to be accessible only by those with the right spiritual training or divine favor. The teachings of the Akashic Records were concealed, kept within the inner sanctums of esoteric traditions, because to truly understand this knowledge meant to transcend the ego and tap into the universal mind, an experience not for the faint of heart. Why has this knowledge been so elusive? The answer lies in its power. The Akashic Records are not simply a collection of data or facts, they are the very essence of existence itself, woven into the fabric of consciousness. To access them is to stand at the precipice of ultimate understanding, where the boundaries between self and universe dissolve. It is a realm that challenges the nature of linear time, where past, present, and future exist simultaneously, where cause and effect lose their rigid grip on reality. As civilizations crumbled and knowledge was lost to time, the Akashic Records became an arcane mystery, something reserved for the few who could navigate its depths without being overwhelmed by its profound truths. The great spiritual leaders of antiquity, from the Egyptian priests to the sages of the Himalayas, were said to have accessed the records to gain insight into the divine plan. Yet, their teachings remained veiled, passed down only to select disciples or encoded in symbols and allegories, leaving behind mere fragments for the modern world to rediscover. And rediscover we must. For the time has come to unveil these ancient secrets, to awaken to the truth that the Akashic Records are not just a relic of the past, they are a living, breathing force that is as relevant now as it ever was. This ancient wisdom holds the potential to radically change our perception of reality and our place within it. To truly comprehend the Akashic Records, we must first dive into the very essence of what they are. At its core, the Akashic Records are not just a spiritual library, they are a dynamic, energetic archive of everything that has ever existed. Every soul, every thought, every event, every potential possibility, they are all contained within this cosmic field, interwoven like threads in an infinite tapestry. Imagine this: you are standing before an immense ocean, vast and deep, each wave a representation of a thought or experience. The ocean, like the Akashic Records, is boundless, timeless, and ever-present. But it is not a static force. Just as the ocean moves and changes with the tides, the records evolve with every new action, every new choice made in the physical world. This is the nature of the Akashic field. It is not simply a record of past events, but a living, breathing reflection of the eternal dance between consciousness and existence. The records are often likened to a book or library, because they contain all the stories of creation. But this analogy only scratches the surface. In truth, the Akashic Records transcend the limitations of time, space, and form. They are not linear. To access the records is to move beyond the confines of sequential time, to witness all of history, not as a fixed series of events, but as a swirling, interconnected dance of energy. The past, present, and future are one. The records do not just tell you what has happened, but what could happen, based on the choices you make. But how can this be? How can events that haven't occurred yet be part of an eternal record? The answer lies in the paradox of time itself. In modern physics, particularly through the lens of quantum mechanics, we have come to understand that time is not a rigid, linear progression as we once believed. Instead, time may be a more fluid and malleable force, where multiple timelines or realities can coexist. Some of the great minds of our time, such as Albert Einstein and Carl Jung, hinted at this possibility, suggesting that consciousness, when attuned to the right frequency, could transcend the limitations of linear time. This concept is at the heart of the Akashic Records. Imagine that every decision you make creates a ripple in the vast ocean of potential realities. These ripples form a web, an interconnected matrix of choices and outcomes. The Akashic Records are the energetic map of this web, recording the interplay of all possibilities, past, present, and future. They do not exist in a what was or what will be. They exist in a constant state of becoming, where every potential is contained within a single, unified field. Now, let's talk about how this knowledge has been guarded for centuries. Accessing the Akashic Records requires more than just intellectual understanding. It demands a deep attunement of the mind and spirit. For centuries, mystics and initiates have claimed that only those who reach a certain level of spiritual awareness can gain access to these records. The records are not merely accessed through mental faculties, they are experienced through the soul. To access them is to enter a state of pure consciousness, where the ego dissolves and the seeker merges with the greater intelligence of the universe. This process is often described as astral travel or soul journeying, a mystical experience in which the soul detaches from the physical body and journeys to the Akashic plane. Here, the seeker is able to witness the vast scrolls of their own soul's journey, seeing not just their past lives, but also the karmic imprints they carry and the lessons they have yet to learn. The records reveal your soul's blueprint, showing the intricate patterns of your existence, your purpose, and your connection to the greater web of life. However, the records are not just a personal tool, they are a universal resource. The Akashic field contains not only the story of the individual but the collective story of humanity, the earth, and the cosmos. Every event, every moment, every being is interconnected within this divine matrix of knowledge. It is through this lens that we begin to understand that we are not isolated beings, but integral parts of a greater whole. Yet, accessing this field is not without its challenges. The ego often interferes, clouding one's perception and blocking access to the deeper layers of the records. In this way, the Akashic Records act as both a mirror and a teacher. They show us not only the truth of who we are but the layers of illusion we must shed in order to truly know ourselves. The records are more than just a passive archive, they are an active force that seeks to awaken us, to bring us back into alignment with our higher purpose. This is why many who have ventured into the records speak of them as a transformative experience, one that leaves them changed forever. But the question remains, how do we begin to access these records? How do we attune ourselves to the cosmic frequency that will allow us to peer into this vast ocean of knowledge? That, my friends, is the next step in our journey. A journey that not only reveals the secrets of the universe but also unlocks the deepest wisdom within us. Now that we've grasped the essence of the Akashic Records, the dynamic, living archive of all that has ever been, and all that ever could be, let's delve deeper into some of the more mysterious and profound aspects of this cosmic knowledge. What lies beyond the surface of this infinite sea of wisdom? How do we begin to understand the deeper, more esoteric layers of the Akashic Records? And, more importantly, What do these records reveal about the paradoxes and mysteries of existence itself? One of the most intriguing elements of the Akashic Records is their relationship with the concept of time. As we mentioned earlier, the records are not bound by linear time, and this creates a profound paradox. If the Akashic Records contain the entirety of history, past, present, and future, then how do we reconcile the idea of free will with the notion of predestined events? Are our choices truly our own, or are they merely part of a grand, preordained plan? This is where the true depth of the records lies. The Akashic Records are not a static prediction of what will happen. Instead, they are a reflection of all possible outcomes based on the choices you make. It's as though the records contain the potential of every possible timeline, with each decision, each action you take, sending ripples throughout the Akashic field, subtly altering the fabric of reality. In a sense, you are both the creator and the observer of your own destiny. The Akashic Records reveal not just what has happened, but the possibilities that await you. These possibilities are not set in stone, they are fluid and ever-changing, responding to the choices you make in real time. The records do not dictate your path, rather, they offer a map of all the possible roads you can take, showing the energetic imprints of your actions and how they shape the unfolding of your life. This concept challenges the traditional understanding of fate. Rather than seeing life as a rigid sequence of events determined by some higher force, the Akashic Records offer us a more empowering vision, the ability to co-create with the universe. The records provide the blueprint, but it is you who holds the pen. But even more fascinating than the potentiality of the future is the deep spiritual knowledge embedded within the Akashic Records about the nature of consciousness itself. The records speak of a deeper unity that binds all of creation together, what we might call the universal mind, or the source of all being. The Akashic field is not just a record of events, but a mirror of the divine intelligence that underpins everything in existence. To access the records is to commune with this intelligence, to tap into the primal wisdom that guides the cosmos. And this is where the true power of the Akashic Records becomes clear. They are not just a source of information, they are a tool of transformation. When we access the records, we are not simply gaining knowledge, we are gaining wisdom. The records show us the interconnectedness of all things, revealing the patterns of existence that govern not only our lives but the entire universe. Through this knowledge, we are able to dissolve the illusion of separateness and experience the profound unity of all life. Yet, accessing the Akashic Records is not always a simple matter of desire or intention. Many who attempt to enter the records are confronted by their own fears, doubts, and unresolved issues. The records are a reflection of our soul's journey, and as such, they are not always comfortable. To access them is to face the shadows of the self, those parts of us that are hidden, repressed, or ignored. The records are a mirror, and like all mirrors, they reflect both the light and the darkness within us. This is why the process of accessing the Akashic Records is often described as a form of spiritual initiation. It requires a deep level of self-awareness, a willingness to confront one's own limitations and illusions. It demands a certain level of purity and alignment with the higher self, qualities that are often cultivated through meditation, prayer, or other forms of spiritual practice. Moreover, the Akashic Records are not always immediate or straightforward in their revelations. Accessing them can be a gradual process, one that unfolds over time as the seeker becomes more attuned to the subtle frequencies of the universe. It's not a matter of simply opening a mystical book and reading its contents. It's a process of becoming, of expanding one's consciousness to the point where the records are no longer external but internal. The Akashic Records are not a distant realm, they are a reflection of your own divine nature. But the challenge doesn't end with the records themselves. For many, the greatest obstacle is the ego, our limited sense of self that constantly seeks to control, interpret, and filter the information we receive. The Akashic Records are not to be approached with the ordinary mind, they require a shift in perception. To access them is to move beyond the ego and enter a state of pure, unfiltered consciousness, where the truth of who you are, and the truth of the universe, can be revealed without distortion. So, how can we begin to navigate these higher realms? How do we move beyond the confines of the ego and tap into the vast ocean of wisdom that awaits us in the Akashic Records? That, dear reader, is the next phase of our journey, learning how to attune ourselves to this divine intelligence, to step into the eternal flow of time, and to access the hidden truths that have always been within us. Now that we have explored the mysteries of the Akashic Records, their paradoxes, and their deeper spiritual significance, it is time to turn our attention to a more practical matter. How can you, the seeker, begin to access this profound source of wisdom? How can you attune your mind and spirit to the Akashic field and experience the transformation it promises? The path to accessing the Akashic Records is not a simple one. It requires dedication, focus, and a willingness to step beyond the limits of the ordinary mind. But with the right tools and practices, anyone can begin to tap into this vast cosmic archive and unlock the knowledge and wisdom that it holds. Meditation and mindfulness, the gateway to the records. The first step in accessing the Akashic Records is to cultivate a deep, meditative state of mind. Meditation is not merely a practice of relaxation, it is a means of attuning your consciousness to a higher frequency. The Akashic Records exist in a non-physical realm, and to access them, you must elevate your awareness beyond the limitations of the physical world. Start by setting aside time each day to practice stillness. Find a quiet space, free from distractions, and close your eyes. Focus on your breath, allowing it to slow and deepen. As you breathe, visualize yourself becoming more and more attuned to the subtle energies around you, like a radio dial tuning into a frequency that connects you to the vast cosmic library of the Akashic Records. To help with this, you can use a simple mantra or affirmation, such as, "I am open to receiving the wisdom of the Akashic Records." Let this mantra guide your focus as you enter deeper states of consciousness. The key here is to enter a state of mental stillness, where you quiet the incessant chatter of the ego and allow your soul to open up to the unseen world. Asking the right questions, clarity and intent. Once you have reached a meditative state, the next step is to ask clear, focused questions that will guide your journey into the Akashic Records. The records are not a passive resource, they respond to your intentions. Therefore, it is important to approach the records with a sense of purpose. What do you seek? Are you looking for answers about a past life, a karmic pattern, or your soul's purpose in this lifetime? Be specific in your questioning. Instead of asking vague, broad questions like, "What does the universe want to teach me?" ask something more focused, such as, "What is the root cause of the fear I feel in relationships?" The clearer your intention, the more likely you are to receive insights that are relevant and transformative. Remember, the Akashic Records are not an oracle of random knowledge. They are a guide, a mirror that reflects your current level of consciousness. As you ask your questions, stay open to the answers, even if they come in unexpected forms. Sometimes, the insights you receive may not come in the form of words but as emotions, visions, or symbols. Trust what you experience, as it is the language of the soul. Trusting the process, patience and receptivity. It's important to understand that accessing the Akashic Records is not a one-time event, it is a process, and it requires patience. The records may not immediately reveal all the answers you seek. Sometimes, the information you receive will come in layers, slowly unfolding over time as you continue to meditate and connect with the records. Be patient with yourself as you deepen your connection to this higher intelligence. Like any spiritual practice, accessing the Akashic Records requires trust in the process, trust in yourself, and trust in the divine wisdom that guides you. If at first you feel like you are receiving no information, don't be discouraged. Simply continue your practice with an open heart and mind, allowing the insights to come when the time is right. In many ways, your soul's readiness determines when and how you will access the deeper layers of the records. Trust that you are being guided along your path. Integrating the wisdom, bringing the records into daily life. Once you begin to access the Akashic Records, the real work begins, integration. The wisdom and insights you receive from the records are meant to be lived. It's not enough to merely observe or intellectualize the information. To truly benefit from the Akashic Records, you must incorporate their teachings into your daily life. For example, if you uncover a past life pattern that is affecting your current relationships, you can begin to take conscious steps to heal that pattern. If you receive guidance on your soul's mission, you can begin to align your actions and decisions with that purpose. The records offer you the blueprint, but it is up to you to take the steps toward transformation. As you integrate the wisdom of the records into your life, you will begin to notice subtle changes, an increased sense of peace, clarity, and purpose. You may find that your life begins to flow more effortlessly, as you are in greater alignment with your true self and with the cosmic forces that shape the world. Protecting and grounding your energy. Because accessing the Akashic Records involves working with subtle energies, it is important to ground and protect yourself spiritually. After each session, take a moment to ground your energy back into your physical body. You can do this by visualizing roots extending from your feet into the earth, or by spending time in nature, reconnecting with the physical world. Additionally, consider using protective rituals, such as invoking a higher spiritual guide or using sacred symbols, to ensure that you are working within a safe and protected space. The Akashic Records are a powerful tool, but they should be approached with respect and reverence. The Akashic Records, once thought to be a mystical and unreachable realm, are now becoming a beacon of light for those who dare to seek the deeper truths of existence. They are not just an archive of past events, but a living, dynamic field of infinite possibility. In unlocking the secrets of the records, we are given access to the raw blueprint of the universe itself, the eternal dance of consciousness, energy, and creation. By attuning ourselves to the Akashic field, we gain more than just knowledge. We receive a profound wisdom that transcends the confines of time, space, and form. It reveals to us our true nature, our soul's purpose, and the intricate web that connects all beings and experiences. As we align ourselves with the Akashic Records, we begin to live with greater clarity, purpose, and authenticity. The veil of illusion is lifted, and we are empowered to make choices that align with our highest selves and the divine blueprint of the cosmos. However, it is not enough to merely access the records, we must integrate their wisdom into our lives. The true power of the Akashic Records lies in their ability to transform us, to awaken us to the deepest truths of our existence. Each journey into the records is an opportunity to evolve, to heal, and to create a life that is more aligned with our soul's mission. The path to accessing the Akashic Records is one of self-discovery and spiritual growth. It requires patience, openness, and a deep willingness to surrender the ego's grip in order to tap into the universal intelligence that flows through all things. But with every step you take, you draw closer to the realization that you are not separate from the universe, you are the universe, unfolding in its infinite potential. So, I leave you with this question: what will you do with the knowledge you gain from the Akashic Records? How will you use this wisdom to shape your life and the world around you? The choice is yours. The Akashic Records are waiting for you. Are you ready to listen?